Hi, just want to share a few thoughts about the whole Israel thing. Just a quick idea about why I might share thoughts. I'm not an expert, I'm not a historian or a politician, but I've lived in Israel and honeymooned in Israel, got many Israeli friends and some Palestinian friends as well. And what's happening over in Israel and Gaza right now is just beyond heartbreaking. And also what's heartbreaking is stuff that I'm seeing on these shores, the marches and the rhetoric and the things that people are saying. So anyway, just a few quick thoughts. And particularly I want to use as an example just to help us think about the way in which we are cajoled into thinking a certain way, perhaps by the media. And I want to use the example of the water situation in Gaza. I'll admit that when Israel turned off the water, I was like, oh man, that is bad. That is a bad, bad thing to do. But, Israel's turned on the water in the south of Gaza today. And it suddenly made me think, I wonder if I got that wrong. So, as a Christian, there is no difference to me between a Jew or a Muslim, between someone living in Israel, someone living in Palestine. Everyone should live in peace. Everyone should be able to be safe where they live and have a good life and aspirations and provision and joy. That's what God created us for, regardless of our religion, of our background, our race, our ethnicity. Everybody is beautiful. So I don't have this idea that Palestinians are bad. I have an idea that Hamas is bad, as others do. But let's just think about that water situation, because it really brought me up short today. Because I confess that although I'm friends with Israel, forgive me if you're not, but I am, it's a beautiful country. I've been thinking bad thoughts about the water, and then suddenly I thought, hey, this may have been a next level genius move to safeguard and protect the Palestinian people. And let me explain why I'm thinking that now. So Israel have got this enormous problem of how do you deal with a group called Hamas who want to commit Jewish genocide. They're not a political party. They are a terrorist organization. They want to kill every Jew. They want to eradicate Israel completely. And they do not want peace. And they number 30,000 estimates in terms of gun-wielding, hate-filled terrorists in Gaza. And they've got all these rockets and they've got other munitions and weapons of war. But they're surrounded by 2 million Palestinians who are beautiful people and people who just want to live in peace. But Hamas uses those people as human meat shields. They dig their tunnels under their homes. They hide in their hospitals and their schools. They embed themselves in apartment blocks, knowing that those Palestinians will be collateral damage. Israel have got an enormous challenge on their hands. How do you go in and deal militarily with war-hungry, bloodthirsty people when they are hiding behind the skirts of women and under the cribs of babies? So Israel need to get people to move. They also need to show Hamas and the Palestinian people that they really mean business now, because we've had decades of tit for tat. Rockets get fired from Palestine and Israel goes in with a few tanks and guns. And this isn't the same situation. Babies have been beheaded and women and children have been kidnapped and taken and raped and murdered and horrific things. So Israel cuts off the water and the electricity. They say, we mean business. And the world seemed to erupt into a chorus of no. That is a step too far. This is a basic humanitarian need. You cannot cut off the water and the electricity. But if they hadn't, and this is what I've been thinking today, if they hadn't done that, if they continued to supply the Palestinian people with water and electricity, then you're stuck in status quo territory. No one's going to do anything. So Israel needs to go in. They need to find Hamas. They need to deal with them. But the civilians are in the way. They've cut off the water and the electricity. And after a couple of days of that horrific situation, and I can't imagine the horror for good Palestinian people to live with that. It's unbearable. I don't know what I would do with my family if that was me. But it does at least create a huge, huge pressure. And it's the sort of pressure that is needed when you are living in a state controlled by terrorists who are telling you to stay put. So when Israel say after a couple of days, hey guys, please move south because we're coming in and we don't want to hurt people who are innocent. Hamas are saying, you guys better stay put because we need to hide behind your skirts. If there wasn't the pressure for people to move, they would never have moved because Hamas are terrifying. So Israel say move. People start to move, but not everybody. And of course, some can't. And then, after 24 hours of this big exodus of people, Israel turns the water back on in the south, exactly where they've asked people to move to. Now that creates a level of basic human desire and need that anyone who's still left in the north who's innocent is going to just go. They're going to get out of the way. They're going to go south. They're going to go where the water is because they need it to survive. Now, I don't know of any other solution that anyone could have come up with to sort the wheat from the chaff. How could you get the Palestinian people out of the way of Hamas? I think they had to turn off the water. I think they had to. And if they had to, and if their motivation was to safeguard the Palestinian people, then surely that becomes a morally good thing and a wise thing for them to have done. And, you know, it's really surprising to go in 24 hours for me from thinking, oh, Israel, that was a bad move, to going, oh, hang on. Maybe that was a genius move. Maybe that was the safest and most careful way to enable people to bypass Hamas and Hamas's roadblocks and Hamas taking keys and from people's cars and trying to stop people from moving. Maybe it was the only way they could pile enough pressure on to actually get people to move through Hamas and get somewhere relatively safe while Israel moves into the north and undoubtedly will go into the tunnels and try and sort out this horrific nest of terror that's there. So anyway, those are my thoughts. You know, and it's so easy for us to get caught up in being told what to think. And sometimes we have to think outside the box and not assume that Israel is this great evil because of the way it acts in ways that we don't act because we don't live in that situation. I know Israelis and I know Israeli society, and I do believe that they care deeply about wanting to live in peace and wanting good for the Palestinian people. It remains the case that if Israel laid all their guns down today and pulled the fences down today, then they would be wiped out tomorrow. It remains the case that if Hamas laid down their guns today, there would be peace tomorrow. That's the difference. That's the imbalance in this situation. I am fearful for every Palestinian and Israeli. There is a horrific thing going on right now, and I pray for peace in Israel and Palestine.